It's the 9th of January 2015, and we're on our way to a town between here and Frankfurt. It's about 100 miles, roughly 100 miles. It's called Bad Nauheim, and it's where my surgeon, my doctor, is. We're going in today to talk to him, have him probably do an x-ray or whatever, and try to find out what's wrong with my hip. For those of you who haven't been following my videos, just shortly, I had what's called a hip bone necrosis 11 years ago. That is, the bone of the hip on the right side died, and I had a replacement titanium replacement hip put in the spring of 2004, and now 11 years later, I'm having some problem. Well, not problem, I'm having pain, and I can hardly walk, quite truthfully. I can drive. And speaking of driving, we got our car back. This is the Mercedes again, and I'm very delighted. It drives like a new car. It's very nice, I must say. They did an excellent job on it. Probably cost as much as a new car. I don't know. I haven't gotten the bill yet, of course. We just picked up the car last night. So in the last the series of repairs, if you will, the first repairs we've ever had on this car, I have to say. It's got 200,000 kilometers on it, and has served us extremely well. It's never let us down until recently. And it needed a new coil pack. It has distributorless ignition, and one of the coils on the third cylinder went out, so then it was replaced. And then a couple days later, the starter didn't work, and the starter died. And much to my amusement, I learned then from the mechanic that they had to take the engine out to replace the starter. In the meantime, I learned that taking the engine out isn't that big of a problem in this car, but because you drop it out the bottom. However, since they had to do that, they decided to also do the transmission. The bearings in the transmission had gotten so loud that it was unpleasant in the car, and of course at some point they will fail. So the transmission was rebuilt. In the process, when they took the engine out, they found that the engine mounts, which I'll show you, I kept one of them. They're aluminum brackets with rubber mounts with embedded bolts, and the rubber has completely failed on them, and as a consequence the engine was flopping around. I assumed something like that was happening. I couldn't tell what the problem was just driving it, but I knew there was a problem because when you let your foot off the gas, I could feel something go clunk, and when you shifted gears, something moved around. So the car had become quite noisy, and it just felt like an old car. It is an old car. It's 12 years old, but in any case, it now feels wonderful. So it has repaired transmission, all new bearings in the transmission. The gears were fine. The clutch needed to be replaced. They did that. And as I said, the coil, the engine mounts, they replaced the, I don't know, you don't call it a fan belt, I guess, because the car has an electric fan. It's not a V belt. I don't know what do you call them these days. Anyway, it's a flat belt that drives the alternator, and I guess probably the AC pump. I don't know. It must. In any case, they replaced it too. So it's going to be a big bill. I expect it to be at least $2,500. We'll see in a few days when it comes. In any case, the car drives well again, and we hope to drive. Oh, they also did the technical inspection that was required. We have to have, in Germany here, we have to have a technical inspection every 2 years. It's very comprehensive. Brakes, steering, suspension, and as well as, of course, emission and all that stuff. So they did that at the same time it was due. So hopefully we'll have a reliable car for a couple of more years. We were going to buy a new car this year, but I'm not very excited about any of the new cars that I can afford. They're the tendency now is to go to small engines, pushing them with turbochargers, and I'm not a fan of that. I would, if I bought a new car, I wanted to get at least a 6-cylinder and maybe even an 8-cylinder. I'd like to get a Mercedes C-Class, but we'll just have to we'll have to see. And I think that we're going to try to drive this car for a couple more years. By then there'll be all kinds of new things anyway, probably none of which we'll like. But that's okay. We'll figure it out then. Maybe by then I'll have a garage and buy an old car. One that I can fix myself instead of these computers with wheels that we drive these days. Okay, I'm going to shut you off for a couple of minutes. I'm going to the bank. And I wouldn't want you looking over my shoulder at my PIN code.